Oh, hello there, Site-42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director and Head Containment Specialist of Site-42, and this is a coffee break with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. As I have done daily for the past 5 months and counting, we stream once a day here. I open my office door to you, the Foundation staff, so you can ask me questions and I can elucidate, illuminate, educate you about the SCP Foundation's inner workings and mysteries. Whether it be about the anomalies themselves, the SCPs, the staff that contains the SCPs so stalwartly, the groups of interest who do their darndest to thwart our containment efforts, or hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that are outside of the Foundation's purview, perhaps because they're from a different multiverse or metaphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. I am here to answer your questions for the next, I would say, 45 to 75 minutes. So, a classic coffee break. But before we begin, let me start with some housekeeping. Just Alice! Thank you for being our #1 chatter of today's stream. Good to see you. Meanwhile, Tyrone's Creations, Person of Interest Codename End, SCP-049, Mr. Scum, Light Steve, Lil, Senior Researcher Alex, Pinky and Anna, Legendary Doge, Mr. Scum, Amber. Senior Researcher America. There we go. Senior Researcher Alex. All of you, thank you for being punctual and thank you for being members. Meanwhile, hi guys, Ashley, Steph, Hazard, Avari, The Entity, and Nick. Welcome to Site-42's chat, nice and punctual, and thank you for being here, just for being you. Where is Steve? Steve is still recovering in a medically induced coma. We are monitoring Steve's brainwaves. We're seeing some anomalous interference. We're not quite sure what it is. And we're not quite steady about Steve's condition to wake him up yet. But when medical says we can do it, that is when we will look forward to it. I need to get some answers from Steve. Desk, good to see you in the chat. Ready for action. Excellent, excellent. And a final piece of housekeeping before we get into today's subject. Today's stream is sponsored by the SCP comic book, The Infinite copyright, The Infinite Furniture Store, SCP-3008 Adventure, Maze of Shelves. This comic book comes in both a digital as well as a printed version. Now, these guys are just making up their own story from scratch. And so there are other anomalies inside the Infinite Furniture Store that I'm not going to hugely spoil, but you've got all these nice color prints. It's looking very Walking Dead-esque if I were to describe the art style. And so, it is a very well printed comic. The story, at least episode 1, I found enjoyable. And of course, who can forget the Dr. Sherman variant cover? Excuse me? How good does that look? And of course, since episode 2 is what we are kickstarting, we also have access to the Dr. Sherman variant cover for episode 2. Wow, that got really big. I need to zoom out of that a little bit. Zoom, zoom, zoom! There we go. The episode 2 Dr. Sherman variant cover of the Maze of Shelves comic. Up a tree with nowhere to go, but I don't need to go anywhere because that tree will scream! So yes, thank you to Site 19 Comics for supporting the channel and doing these wonderful variant covers for us. Reminder, you can go to the links in our description to get either the Episode 1 and Episode 2 secret bundle, available only for Site 42 fans. And if they've run out of that secret bundle, you can also get the regular Episode 2, and I think they're bringing back Episode 1 at some point as well. You can also go to the support link I have pinned in the chat. That link also leads to all of our social medias as well as our sponsors. Thank you all for supporting Site 42, and thank you to Site 19 Comics for doing the same thing. Dr. Sherman, can staff get retired or are they just shot? Patates. We are not so cruel. We are, in fact, cold, but not cruel. That's like our whole mantra. So, pardon. The retirement setup here at the Foundation is pretty simple. I mean, you can't go back to civilian life knowing what you remember, so you have to be amnesticized. But depending on how long you work for the Foundation, what kind of work you did, how good your work was, perhaps you saved some lives, then we set you back in civilian society with certain memories reintegrated into your brain so that you feel like you've always just been a normal person living your life. And we make sure you got a nice cushy job, a nice savings pension, all that. So yes, people retire from the Foundation all the time. Well, I wouldn't say all the time. I certainly have seen it happen. Yes. And in fact, you can read SCP-2700-EX to see what happens when a Foundation employee is forced to retire against their will. How is the floating hand spider doing? Intern Gamer, the floating hand spider is doing just fine. You can visit the super cool petting zoo at any time to visit. Just make sure to bring your amethyst. Are people who work at the Foundation allowed to go outside off-site, or they live full-time on-site? That depends on the facility. For instance, Site 42 has its own campus, sort of to speak, in the middle of nowhere. And so we've had to build a whole base. Essentially, we're about the size of a large college campus. And you can expect to not only see the ground level buildings, but all of the bunkers underneath as well, all of the levels. And so when you're dealing with that, we have to have allowances for people to go topside to enjoy some, I don't know, daylight once in a while, as well as some restaurants and bars that are on site for socializing and sort of activities, things like that. But you can get a day pass to go back to civilization once in a while. It's just a hassle and it takes a while, and so shore leaves are few and far between. Plus, I mean, it's really hard to, I don't know, socialize with friends or date someone who is outside the Foundation. You're automatically starting with a huge lie and breach of trust. It doesn't make for good relationships in the long run, unfortunately. Especially when they find out. because everybody gets loose lips once in a while. And oh, my partner can handle it. They're the ones who will be able to take on the knowledge that all of the monsters and the things that go bump in the night are real, and they'll be fine with it and won't have a total mental breakdown. Spoiler, they had a total mental breakdown. Can he see our messages? Intern bro. I don't know. Can I? You're my favorite on YouTube and TikTok, by the way. Hope you have an awesome day. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you appreciate our work. I did the SCP-072 test with the socks, and turns out because your feet are covered with socks, it doesn't work, and I'm very happy about that. Well, I am glad at least in your universe that's the case. We also ran that here, and what the hand did I am not going to discuss due to poor taste. The poor taste it leaves in my mouth after I almost vomit seeing that. So suffice it to say, in ours, it took it more like a challenge. Ugh. Dr. Sherman, I am currently being transferred to Site 42. What will my first task be when I arrive? Well, obviously, you'd have to go on the site tour and get your housing situation set up and that sort of thing. Obviously, orientation is the answer to that question. Dr. Sherman, how does the Foundation get food for the staff and the SCPs? Like, where does it come from? And does the Foundation pay taxes, or is the IRS just too scary? So, the Foundation overall doesn't pay taxes, but there are some workarounds where we do have to pay taxes in order to maintain secrecy. For instance, let's say for the sake of argument, we have a front company, and that front company, Stephanie's Classy Posies, so to speak, is on Main Street, USA. Well, if people start looking into Stephanie's Classy Posies and it hasn't paid taxes, that looks suspicious. So to keep up the ruse and keep the front company operational, we do have to pay taxes for those. That being said, we don't always... we definitely don't pay taxes on our secret facility. Site 42 does not pay taxes. Come and get me. What are you going to send? The UIU? Useless. Not even worth worrying about. Even the Joker doesn't mess with the IRS. Well, to be fair, Punisher, the IRS used to be a lot more terrifying before the current American administration. Now they are toothless and weak peons. So we're not worried about the IRS at all anymore. Bring it on, bozos. I have seen a notification. Number one, let me refresh here. Galaxy Dragon, thank you for becoming a Patreon patron of Site 42. We appreciate you going through the effort to go off-site to become a patron, and we appreciate the support here. Your help in keeping the lights on is much appreciated. Meanwhile, a Ko-Fi just came in. Dr. A Mask, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some toffee on your way past the commissary. Greetings, Doc. Glad to be on time today. I have an SCP for you to today's NOPES. Ooh, wonderful. SCP-2935, codename O-Death. Also, on the green lighting idea I've had, the first draft is in the works as I await the green lights. All right, good luck on that green light process. I hope you get a good idea past some of those authors. It's also important to be able to explain your idea when they have questions. You kind of got to beef up your argument, so to speak. You're doing a sales pitch, so obviously you want to make sure that you can sell them on your idea. And meanwhile, you mentioned SCP-2395, was it? 2935. I'm always transposing digits. It's a terrible, dangerous game at the Foundation. You want to hang out with the iPods, SCP-131, but you mix up the digits, so now you are transgender because you touched the gender switching stone, SCP-113. Mistakes happen. Be careful. Oh Death, SCP-2935. Ah, yes, Cactus's Oh Death. The universe where everything is dead. And if you go in there, then yours will too. Something about those likes. Yeah, just a whole bunch of everything dies. That's pretty rough. I'll give it a solid 1 nope, because that does, in fact, end everything, so I would not like that to happen, hence a nope. But if I was going to think about nopes regarding death, specifically in the SCP Wiki, I would go with what happens after. Which, what SCP is what happens after, by chance? SCP-2718, I believe. 2718. Now, you will be amnesticized of this at the end of stream, because this is of the highest classification level. But I can tell you because you'll be amnesticized at the end of stream. So 2718 is, we found an overseer dead. They happened to die while on vacation. And we brought them back to life. And we quizzed them about what happened after they died. Because we had never successfully brought someone back from the dead before. This is the first time we ever pulled it off. It wasn't good. To hear the description. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is the description? Where is the description? Yada yada, yada yada yada. Yada 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 yada. I dared not speak of it at first. You'd never have let me out of containment. The truth is, I was aware of all of it. I suppose there was a sweet oblivion, like deep sleep at first, but in retrospect, I think it was no more than a day. Slowly, but unmistakably, I reoccupied my corpse with dreamlike consciousness, numb for the first merciful hours, blind, deaf, and immobile. But then I seemed to reconnect to every nerve, and became aware of every sensation, more so than I ever was in life. I perceived myself trapped within an immovable object, and the intensity of the struggle amplified, subtle, then acute, then racking. I cannot describe it completely, but imagine holding your breath, beyond urge, beyond pain, beyond desperation, head throbbing, and eyes bulging, a dream of suffocation, without end. My skin blistered and split in the sunlight. Biting insects descended rapidly. I felt eggs hatch, larvae crawl, gases build and burst within me, individual cells rupturing, interstitial fluids souring and blackening. Somehow my capacity to experience and store these new sensations grew, even as I was keenly aware of my cerebrum being scattered and devoured. My perception expanded into the gizzards of birds and the depths of fire ant dens. I was aware of every fingernail and strand of hair that pulled away in the wind, and my sensation clung to them as they settled in the ocean and dissolved in the maws of 1 trillion diatoms. I don't understand it. The more bits of me there were, the larger my capacity for the perception of pain. As I decayed into pieces smaller than living nerves could possibly distinguish, the character of the discomfort changed. From burning and aching and breaking, I might relate to you in human terms, to something worse that I cannot fully articulate. A terrible, maddening stretching of every part of myself from every other part. Humans often numb to chronic pains in life, do they not? Yet every year, every month, every second that passed, I swear it only intensified over time. In my previous life, I ruminated on heaven and hell, and the likelihood of my experiencing one, the other, or something in between. As terrible as I imagined the torpor of heaven or the torments of hell to be, this was entirely different from either. In hell, at least there would surely be a tormentor, some memory of my deeds, some sense of justice, even if my soul rejected its logic. I can imagine some comfort in hell for a mind such as mine. I do not think this is a punishment. I do not think it is caused. I deeply suspect it is simply our condition, our nature, to go on in this way. Do you see? In all that time, I was certainly, absolutely, totally alone. And before long, all memory of life had shriveled to a cinder, lost beneath my interminable anguish. Alive again, I suspect I cannot quite recall the worst of it, as if my living brain is too small for the experience. There is more to that article, but I think that's all we need for this to be considered a very big nope. Gah. If you haven't, give SCP-3008 a read if you can survive the nightmares. Terragal, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself some chop suey on your way past the commissary. I'm stuck in surrealistics. My friend tricked me into getting tested on. Please send help. I don't want to be tested on by surrealistics. It's not fun. Oh, wait, let me remember the parlance. Speak three them. Eyes do not cerulean more than 17 Rubik's Cubes. That should get them to let you out, if I remember the right jargon. Cool Man Fight, thank you for your first donation of today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a hot pickle on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, we are having a problem at Site Dwarf. We ran out of wine and mead. We only have beers and ale, a little fatto stew, and cookies. Well, it seems like you should prioritize wine and mead production then, obviously. You got to reallocate resources. That's your job when you run a site. You think Site 42 runs like clockwork on its own? No. There is a site director handling it. Scarlet, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a blueberry muffin on your way past the commissary. Hello, Dr. Sherman. I'm doing better, and I'm now completely healed from the chaos that was last stream. That wasn't fun. I'm cooking tomorrow and going shopping. Well, I'm glad to hear that you are recovered. Take care of yourself. Don't overdo it. You think you're doing better, and then you overexert, and you have to rest again. Not that I know from personal experience. R. Runyon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a turkey leg on your way past the commissary. Good day, Dr. Sherman. I am a new member of Site 19's Internal Affairs Division. Ah, great. IA. Good to know. specifically the ISD. My question for you today is what my primary objective in a site-wide breach is. I've been wondering this for a while. Well, as internal affairs, your main mission as a breach is not to die. We do not want the blood of a member of IA on our hands during an emergency. So your first task, your primary objective is duck and cover. Lock good doors. Make sure you're behind doors that will protect you from anomalies that are running at you. That is your main priority. Remember the Foundation Fitness Initiative. You don't have to be the fastest researcher, just faster than the slowest one. That's how you get away in a containment breach. All right, refreshing. Chris, the Dire Wolf Boy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a macchiato on your way past the commissary. Also appreciate you going through the trouble to make it to the Ko-Fi. That way we get all, or at least a little more of the money, because YouTube takes 30% of any super chats. So we appreciate you going through the effort. Director Dr. Sherman, there's a problem. Drake eating 3008 because a junior researcher wanted to see if Drake is able to recognize the bodies in the water. What? What are you talking about? How would that combination of efforts do anything? You said 3280? That is super redacted. How does Drake even know what that is? Also, it seems to be a person, maybe? Don't eat people? The hell? Yeah, it is a living thing. Please do not eat living anomalies. Jiminy sakes. Meanwhile, Foxy Bunny, thank you for donating through the Ko-Fi and your first donation of the day. Make sure to get yourself grab yourself a nice salad on your way past the commissary. You made this message private, so I just want to, should I say this, son? I mean, you're saying it's a decent Nope article, so I'm assuming you want me to read this. I'm just going to go ahead and assume maybe you set it to private by accident, because you're telling me a good Nope involving psychedelic mind-controlling worms in Jersey is SCP-5629. Well, I don't like the idea of mind-controlling worms, so I'm already going to nope that before I even open the article. Secondarily, if you look at the person who is infected, yeah, that's a hell of a nope right there. That's a pretty good nope. Don't like it. Don't like the scenario. Don't like mind-controlling brain worms. Not a fan. Not a fan. I'm sure it's a very nice article, but I do not want to deal with psychic brainworms. Not a fan. Sorry, psychedelic brainworms. Cool Man Fight, thank you for donating again. I, for one, would welcome hell, because I surely belong in hell since the Snyder idea, the Snyder spider and snake fusion. I will see you there. We don't need spider snakes. And that's even before, we don't need more anomalies. Stop making anomalies. Do you know how much it costs to contain and document and test an anomaly. We do it because we're the Foundation. It's what we do. But don't make more work for us, man. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a croissant on your way past the commissary. Did you see the new Midnight Entity from last stream questions? And if it can't die, then SCP kills host. It jumps to it means it's stuck with it 096. So, I have not seen that episode of Doctor Who. When I go back to Doctor Who, I'm going to have to rewatch a lot of it. And I don't like skipping around in shows. I like watching in order. So no, I have not done that. But that said, I don't want anything infecting 096's body, because 096's body is damn nigh indestructible. It's not indestructible. It can be destructed, but it's very difficult. And if something with an intelligence takes over that body, we're going to have a lot of trouble. So no, we're not introducing them. The same way, we're not putting 035 on. We're not putting 035 on 096 or 682 or whatever. You seemingly Foundation researchers, but somehow so dumb as to recommend it, put 035 on 096 or 035 on 682. We're not going to do it. Terragal, thank you for donating again. They let me out, but I think I might have to go to medical because they injected me with some wooden platypus ate the sound of watermelon numbers. Yeesh. Go to medical. Yup, do it. Cool Man Fight, thank you for donating again. I'm mind controlled by drunk spiders and snakes. Medical's coming to you. Arunyan, thank you for donating again. Oh, before I forget, I received a package with a tape that said classified intel contained inside. Should I report that? Well, I mean, is it a briefing for you? Because then no, you should just listen to it. Check if you are the subject. That would be a good thing to do. Crystal Dire Wolf Boy, thank you for donating again. Sorry, I don't remember the number is for I don't recognize the bodies in the water. The SCP where it drowns you for recognize the bodies in the water. That is SCP-3008, codename Field Trip. But we all just call it, you do not recognize the bodies in the water, because that's what people remember. So, yes, that is the one you were thinking of. Oh, you guys got a lot of good NOPES coming. Let me catch up. Real Karteka, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Amber, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member, and thank you for going to the Ko-Fi and putting in the effort. Make sure to grab yourself a key lime pie on your way past the commissary. Nope, SCP-4814, codename Woodpecker. I am concerned. SCP-4814, you say? 4814. Codename Woodpecker. Description. SCP-4814 is the collective designation for 9 trees, designated as 4814-1 through 4814-9, that are biologically similar to standard human women in all manners except form. Each is approximately 2 meters in diameter and 6 meters tall. Radiography confirms the presence of functioning human organs, some instances possessing multiples of each. Each instance has varying skin tones, eye colors, and hair colors. Orifices can be found in excess and on different parts of the body. Mouths and anuses tend to be along the trunk, while nostrils, ear canals, and genitalia are found along the branches. 4814s are unable to speak despite possessing the necessary organs. 4814 respond to outside stimulus and are capable of slight movement. They are able to twist their trunks and stretch their branches with little stress, although they cannot uproot themselves or swing their limbs. Testing has shown that attempts to do so are incredibly painful, as exhibited by groaning, bruising, and hyperventilation. What the fuck? Discovery. On September 1st, 2019, Foundation agents tailed a cargo van that had acted as a delivery vehicle for Ambrose Restaurant Steakhouse in Chicago, Illinois. Ambrose Restaurants is a group of interests that runs anomalous restaurants with anomalous foodstuffs. For the dual purpose of tracking the supplier and inhibiting the business location's ability to serve. In doing so, 5 locations were discovered to be involved in distribution of anomalous goods, including the farm housing SCP-3008. So were people growing and eating the organs? Yeah, they were chopping down bits of the trees and eating them for human steaks. Yep, okay. Cool. Cannibalism. Love that. Hey, I wonder if we can introduce 4814 to 4521. Do you think they would, What do you mean keep going? It gets worse, Amber. What do you mean? Owen, to put it frankly, we are putting an end to this partnership. Needless to say, the quality of your supply has been degrading. It is not because of its physical quality per se. The meat is firm and juicy, and by all means edible. It is much deeper than that. The problem lies with what's left after the butchering. Our Chicago location prides itself on its flavors of the soul selections, and the residual soul of this meat is tainted and dark and malicious, likely an attribute of the father, no offense. Killing them was the best choice. Putting them in the mouths of patrons should not have been an option. I recommend seeking professional help, Owen. This was a mistake and a line that shouldn't have been crossed. Those women have it hard enough. Regards, Sidru Jameson. Addendum December 9th, 2019. SCP-4814-1-3-5 and -6 have recently become visibly engorged in their lowest branches. You saw nothing. Similarly, 4814-2 and -4 have formed large lumps along their trunks. These newfound abnormalities, in addition to previous symptoms of nausea and menstrual spotting, confirms that SCPs 4814-1 through -6 are pregnant. Care for the objects is to be adjusted until all instances has given birth. Any further action is to be left to the discretion of the medical team stationed at Provisional Site 309. Okay, but do you think if I got a D class and I carved a hole in SCP-4521, do you think that this could make 4521 scream? Could this be the way? I mean, I'm visibly upset. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. I even feel dirty having said that. Blech. Nukas Essa, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. All right, refreshing. Christadar Wolfboy, thank you for donating again. Okay, well, 2316 is what Drek is eating. The reason the joined researcher did the test instead of letting Drake eat. But what? It's just a lake. I mean, there are bodies in it, but we don't even know if the bodies are physical because no one comes back from the lake. They could be ghost bodies for all we know. So are you saying, like, is Drac just out there just drinking lake water? That seems like a weird thing to test. I wouldn't recommend it. Nope, we don't need that kind of music at this point. All right, refresh the chat. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. The Midnight Entity evolves now, and it's unkillable. If Shy Guy gets mad, kills its host, it jumps to them, and then it learns all info from Brain, and Shy Guy can't kill it now because it's on him and has no body. Yes, that's why I don't want them to interact at all. That would be a bad thing. I do not want that entity to get access to a nearly invulnerable body. It's a bad idea. Cool Man Fight, thank you for donating again. At Site Dwarf, we ran out of fruit and honey for wine and mead. And we are in the middle of winter. We can't gather more for the booze. Turn into food. Okay, well, you can possibly trade with a close-by site for it, if you can't farm it. R. Runyon, thank you for donating again. No, I am not the subject. It has a secondary stipulation station L4 clearance required. I have an L3 clearance classification. I believe I am in trouble if I don't report this, right? Yes, you should not look at it if it is above your clearance level. Therefore, you should turn it in to the nearest InfoSec office next to your current location. So make your way and drop that off. Do not read it since it's above your classification. We're rather picky about that here at the Foundation, as you can imagine. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. Imagine the unkillable lizard entity or other SCP. Well, in a tale on the wiki called Addressing the Second, we get to see the future where SCP-682 wore 035 and what came of it. So, let's not do any of that. I thought the jumping hand spider got you. You lied to me. Puppet Boy Dillard, it's not me that got. It is the viewer that got. It's you that got. I'm actually shocked to see that you're here and okay. I guess medical did a good job patching you up. Interesting. Wendy, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Foxy Bunny, thank you for donating to the Ko-Fi again. Much obliged. SCP-3781, Spider-Man meets The Fly. Description says it all. Interesting. 7781, you say. Does this go, how high does this go on the nopometer? It's contained in the humanoid containment wing at Site 83. Jack Arthur Osborne, a genetically modified humanoid organism. Prior to containment, 7781 was a known figure among the online community and moderator of the subreddit r/spiderporn. Please tell me that's a euphemism for enjoying pictures of spiders. And that's all. Hashtag annoyed and asexual. Upon retrieval, Osborne was discovered to have undergone severe genetic modification, including the grafting of additional limbs, the growth of silk-producing glands, a chitinous exoskeleton, and compound eyes. Through currently unknown anomalous means, 7781 is able to alter and combine the genetic data of various existing arachnid species with each other, other animals, and inanimate objects, or produce entirely new organisms. It makes new spiders. It was already a problem that it was a Spider-Man, but also it makes new kinds of spiders. Get the hell off of my computer, you terrible monster, you. That is a nope, 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 nope. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. I meant the Midnight Entity plus Lizard SCP or other. I don't want that thing to get its hands on any SCPs either. No. We'll stick it in a quadriplegic D class, probably injured from some test with 1048 or something, and then leave it to rot. Come on. There we go. Terragal, thank you for donating again. I'm back from medical. Fortunately, it was quick. Also, I don't know if I want to be friends with Guy from Surrealistics anymore. You cannot trust the guys over in Surrealistics. And by that, I don't just mean the people who work there. I mean any of the people in Surrealistics named Guy. They are all douchebags. SCP-439 is my certified #1 nope. Well, Zerdrin, let's see what 439 has in store for us. SCP-439. Codename The Bone Hive. Well, immediately on first sight, I'm not gonna say it looks good. That does not look like a good time at all. So yeah, we're in a... That's not good. Let's continue. 439 is an insect of unknown origin, somewhat resembling a grayish, semi-translucent common earwig, approximately 2.5 centimeters in length. Originally located and obtained in mainland China in the redacted province, no other specimen has been found as of yet. It is relatively harmless when encountered on safe terms, aside from the ability to deliver a firm, painful pinch with its abdominal forceps. The true hazard this creature possesses lies in its habitat construction and reproduction, which is initiated when the specimen enters the mouth of a sleeping human. Nope, 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 nope. This will only occur with humans. Other life forms that have been presented to 439 have been uniformly rejected. Upon location of a suitable host, the specimen will hide itself in the immediate vicinity and wait until the victim has fallen asleep. How it is able to determine the state of sleep is unknown, but has been shown to have been accurate in data expunged times out of data expunged. What a lazy data expungement, might I point out? Yeah, this can be a lot of nope in its fucking disgusting bugs in your mouthness, but why would you say it's been accurate in data expunge out of data expunged times? You didn't even redact it with a black box. You data expunged the amount of times it succeeded? Come on. You could have said 75% of the time. It's not scarier if it's 100% of the time or if it's 20% of the time. What is this redaction doing? What is this redaction doing for the story? Please. Please tell me. SCP author Multimoog. I do not hate on you back in the day from 2009, but explain it to me. What does data expunging, out of data expunging the amount of successes or failures of this bug to determine whether you've fallen asleep, how is that needing to be expunged? If anything, now it's a nope due to its writing. In approximately 4 to 8 hours, once entering the mouth, it will travel down the trachea and take up residence in one of the lungs. After 4 to 8 hours in awakening, the host will complain of chest pains and shortness of breath, followed by abdominal cramping. Tightness in chest will increase, as well as a fever until the host is incapacitated. It is about this time that the onset of fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva occurs. That's what we saw in the picture with the bone skeleton hive. Okay. Within the first 3 days without treatment, the host will become completely withdrawn and immobile due to the extreme pain and new bone growth as they transform into a bone hive. Entire portions of the skeletal structure will shift along data expunge until the host body is roughly spherical in nature and reduced to 3/4 of its original size. What does the data expunge there mean? What does it mean? What is it expunging? Entire portions of the skeletal structure will shift along data expunged. I mean, we know it's shifting into a sphere. You said that. What do you mean? What do you mean? So yes, this is a nope for 2 reasons. Number 1, because obviously bug in your mouth turning you into a bone hive is horrible. And B, from fruitless data expunged. This is why we get made fun of on Twitter. And they joke that the SCP Foundation's black marker must be leaking, and that's why there's so many black boxes. Ay, ay, ay. I'm just having fun. Don't you even worry about it. Nobody's mad. Puppet Boy Dillard and Artemios Sarimentio Jr. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Desk. Yes, I did. I had to go order a tux. What kind of tuxedo fits a mahogany desk? I mean, I guess the pants would have to have 4 legs. And then the sleeves just kind of dangle off the side? Or is it like a cow? So 2 legs get the pants and 2 legs get the arms, so to speak. Curious. Are you calling me a cow? Listen to the language. I said like a cow. Like. It's a simile. It is comparing something using like or as. It is a proper trope of speech that it literally means you're not a cow. It means you're similar to a cow, but you're not a cow. Specifically, languagely cleared. By technicality. Technically correct. The best kind of correct. Chris the Dire Wolf Boy, thank you for donating again through the Ko-Fi. No, it's somehow eating whatever it is that appears as bodies. I don't understand how it is happening. I just know that 2316 looks like it's just as confused as me. Your universe's lake is really weird. No one has ever come back from that lake. They just go it. Oh, hiccups. Great. As I was saying, they just go in and never come back. So, being able to eat the bodies is, in fact, anomalous AF, and you should be careful about that. Also, containing bodies that are cognitohazards probably is not good for your digestive tract. Game Tester, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Eerie, 5. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a tostada on your way past the commissary. A bit ago, I asked how strong the cups of 294 are. I have a follow-up. Do you know what you do with the cups, and more importantly, the antimatter? Well, obviously, we have a disposal grate for any sort of anomalous fluid 294 puts out that would not usually be handleable. We're not crazy. We're not summoning these things with nowhere to put them, thank you. And yeah, the cups are they're standard paper cups, except for the fact that they're immune to whatever's in them. So you can still just crumple the paper cup and throw it away. It's not like, I was going to say, it's not like at the dump people are going to test the paper cups with antimatter to find out that they're anomalous in any way. But furthermore, that's not a problem we have because we have the Department of Achromatic Abatement handling our waste disposal anyways. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. Think all the info and experience the unkillable lizard has from all known info and the experience to kill it, including sending it to other dimensions. I don't like thinking about that. What I like thinking about is SCP-3008 dead. It is the only anomaly, to my knowledge, that we actively are trying to decommission. Now, that could be because we decommissioned a bunch of them. But we don't really like decommissioning anomalies because then we can't study them. So deciding to kill an anomaly is a rare thing for the Foundation, and 682's on that list. Dark Duality, thank you for your first donation of today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself an ice cream sundae on your way past the commissary. Most of the little misters give me nopes. They were human once, weren't they? I believe, yes. I believe all of the little misters are made of actual humans who have been transformed in some way. And yes, a lot of them are body horror. So that is obviously a good list of nopes right there. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. Unkillable lizard info from prior plus midnight entity, so the entity has all the info from everything from the lizard. Just imagine that, Dr. Sherman. As I said, I don't want to. What I want to imagine is that I'm glad the midnight entity is not in our universe. Also, 682, I want to imagine dead. Fucksabunny, thank you for donating another donation to the Ko-Fi. Got one more, SCP-3078. Wouldn't read through data logs on stream, lol. Is that a challenge? How bad could it be? What could possibly go wrong? Goo monster SCP that does whatever person tells them to do. SCP is fine. Trouble to researcher is the nope. Why the rules of we don't fraternize with the anomalies are important. Good read for later, though. Okay. Now, I'm a little upset. Now, it's a goo monster. A researcher is illuminating why we have rules against fraternizing with anomalies with a goo monster. Oh no. Oh, this is not going to be good. 8078. Why aren't you great? Fucking terrified right now typing in this number. SCP-8078. Code name, the Perilous People Pleaser. Features adult content. It's got an adult content splash page. Features sexual themes or language, but does not depict sexual acts. Features non-consensual sexual acts. I say again. In its default state, SCP-8078 is a 200-liter mass of viscous black fluid similar to molten tar in consistency and striated with luminous metallic gold veins. So a black and gold 999. SCP-8078 commonly shapes this matter into an abstract humanoid figure when it wishes to communicate. It is polymorphic in nature and can perfectly replicate human beings, animals, objects, and other liquids after sufficient observation. However, 8078 reports that becoming smaller than 5 millimeters or taller than 3 meters in height is extremely painful, and testing has determined that it cannot mimic gases or combustible substances. 8078 is difficult to permanently damage as its body reforms as soon as it is disrupted. Extreme heat temporarily disables its regenerative properties, making fire the most viable form of deterrence in the event of critical miscommunications. It is sapient but intellectually limited. It has demonstrated general intelligence roughly comparable to a child. Great. Most prominently in its inability to comprehend the notion of permanent harm or death, as it cannot understand why deceased test subjects have stopped moving and are never seen again after being removed from its presence. It also interprets any information it receives literally, and therefore cannot process sarcasm, humor, irony, satire, innuendo, or obvious lies. It can only recognize fiction with prior coaching. Really don't like how this is going. In addition to its dysfunctional initiative, 8078 also exhibits compulsive obedience. Whenever provided with an order, it will obey without question. Combined with its literal mindedness, this has resulted in numerous attempts to accommodate any desired voice in its presence, no matter how vague. Psychological analysis suggests 8078 was subjected to extensive psychological conditioning during its earliest stages of development, indicating that its obedience is not an intrinsic trait, but was instead deliberately engineered in order to ensure it would remain cooperative with its previous keepers. Discovery log, interview log. I'm scanning this log very carefully. Uh-huh. Oh, that is a lot of logs. That is a lot of logs. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yep. Yep, I'm not reading this. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's just not and say we didn't. Let's just not and say we didn't. Let's just nope our whole ass the way out of here. Nope. No thank you. You want a little nope? It is 8078. It is... And you wonder why I say that it is Foundation policy that we do not fraternize with the anomalies. Ah! Chris, the Dire Wolf Boy, thank you for donating again through the Ko-Fi. Okay, Drac went back to his container for a nap. Can someone from medical be sent to check on Drac? It sounds like something we can do, yes. Okay, my sanity is recovering. My sanity is recovered. Okay, where were we? Silent Follower, thank you for your 5-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site-42. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially in the battle against the White Names. What did I just miss? Woke up from a nap. Also, hello. Well, hello, and you're welcome for not reading into that article too deeply, because Fox and Bunny was right. I ain't reading that. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating twice again. Think the Midnight Entity control the unkillable lizard working co-op or any SCP, as all that info is known, then can't get rid and can't kill either. So here's the deal. 682 has been possessed before and fought back and fought it off. So it's wholly possible that the Midnight Entity could not hold on to 682's psyche. I believe 682 to be something actually bigger and grander than the Midnight Entity, based on its outsider-like tendencies. The problem is, depending on what the Midnight Entity can offer, it could be a helpful co-op scenario, like when 682 paired with 035. So, I don't like the idea either way. And Midnight Entity has Doctor Who info, SCP-682 would too. See, I don't like that. I don't like that. The Joker, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to get yourself a banana cream pie on your way past the commissary. What would happen if you placed SCP-999 upon SCP-682? Well, we've run this test before, and it's in the SCP-682 test logs. When 999 approached and tickled SCP-682, 682 laughed, felt the endorphins, the euphoric, all of that kind of thing, but then eventually huffed and puffed and psychically blew that tickle sensation into the staff members of the site, where it was then able to breach while they were distracted. So, it wasn't a good idea, is the answer to your question. Nixie, thank you for your 4-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site-42. We appreciate your membership and your service in the battle against the White Names. Hi, long time no see. I'll be at Site-42 for a week. Well, good to see you again. Good to have you back, and we're hanging out here, so good to see you. All right, checking to see any more nope suggestions. By the way, time check. We are in the last 15 minutes of stream, everyone. The last 15 minutes. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. 15th version is on its back line together, and the entity would learn and evolve too with it. And imagine all that info it got from years prior to 10 plus years. I don't want to have to deal with an entity like that. It's going to be very problematic. Have a whole Among Us situation running around trying to see who it was in, and losing a lot of good researchers in the way. I prefer that we don't have to deal with such an entity. SCP-4663 is a massive nope. Well, Intern Weldon, let me put that to the test. SCP-4663, you say? All right, by the code name, I'm already angry. SCP-4663, code name. 3D printed spiders, printing printed spiders, printing spiders, printers, printing spiders, printers, printing printed spiders, printers, printing printing spiders, printers, printing spiders, printing printed printer spiders, printing spidered spider printers, printing spider spider printered printer printers. I say it again. Description: SCP-4663 is an anomalous species of arachnid indigenous to Europe and North and South America. 4663 is capable of consuming all inorganic substances, but subsists mainly on metals and plastics. 4663 instances internally process these materials and spin them into thread, which is used to construct 4663-1 instances. 4663-1 are living entities that resemble and function as 3D printers. However, they match no known product. Once fully constructed, 4663 instances will begin feeding 4663-1 biological material, which it will then use to print more 4663 instances as their means of reproduction. As long as it is continually supplied with biological material, 4663-1 is capable of creating new 4663 instances at a rate of 1 every 150 seconds. Reproducing mechanical spiders is a nope. You've had my agreement. Intern Weldon, you are correct. Congratulations. That is a massive nope. You were right. Chris the Direwolf Boy, thank you for donating again. 3867 is a possible palate cleanser from the Nope SCPs. Well, then I will save that for our last bit. You said it was 3867? 3867 it is. So, now we go on to Bushy. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a cold one on your way past the commissary. My 2010 Toyota Camry needs to be an SCP because half the time it works and half the time it doesn't, I swear to God. That's not anomalous. That's just a 2010 Toyota Camry. Get a better car. The Joker, thank you for donating again. If I were doing Nopes, SCP-150 gotta be on that list somewhere. SCP-150, you say? Well, let us see how Nope this SCP really, truly is. Well, I'm already upset. I mean, very simply, if you put a bug in front of me, I'm going to be mad. And so, nope! Well, I don't care that its code name is Ship of Theseus, which I automatically think it's cool all the time, but nope! Okay, so what does it do? Obligate parasite that resembles a tongue-eating louse, but is adapted to form conjunctive symbiotic relationships with humans. Upon contact with a human, it embeds itself deeply in the flesh of its host. Over the course of approximately 7 days, the parasite will burrow into the host and affect numerous physiological alterations. The most glaring alteration is the gradual conversion of the limb nearest the infection site into a chitinous appendage. As 150 consumes the host's flesh, it excretes tissue that replaces and augments the functionality of that host's limb without causing transplant rejection. So it ship of Theseus you into bug bones. Living, talking bug bones. Cool. I hate it. Don't like it. Next up is our NOPES. SCP-1027. Codename Carnivorous CNS. Short for Central Nervous System. Description: SCP-1027 closely resembles the central nervous system of the human body that adapted to life outside of the human body. The picture with this article is the living central nervous system. So brain and nerves going all throughout the body, dangling and floating and being weird. It seems to feed primarily on the neurotransmitters found within mammalian brain tissue. Consumption takes place by a process similar to osmosis, in which the neuroglia of 1027 extract and absorb certain compounds. When presented with live prey, 1027 will apparently merge with the nervous system, draining neurotransmitter agents over time, leading ultimately to death. However, when exposed to a living or recently deceased human, 1027 will instead infiltrate the brain through the auditory canal. Upon breaching the meningeal membranes, the neural ganglia of 1027 will release a high dose of an apparently modified dopamine compound directly into the brain, in addition to an electrical impulse measured at 150 millivolts. The combination has been shown to initiate basic brain activity in 90 redacted % of cases. Okay, again, why are you redacting it like this? Why did you say it initiates basic brain activity in 9 and then a redacted digit % of cases? What does it matter if we know that it's between 90 and 99% of cases that we need to redact that? What does that mean? Why? Why would you do this in my technical documentation? Why is that? Intern the Raven, you need to come to my office. Researcher the Raven, since you're the one who wrote this. Wait a minute. I have a problem here. I gotta refresh the chat. Foxy Bunny, thank you for donating to the Ko-Fi again. I feel bad enough for that article to send you a mostly feel-good article. 8104, shelf that spawns lost childhood toys. The only cost being you lose memory if you overuse it, so chase childhood nostalgia sparingly. Well, that is a sad... So, shelf constructed of wood, discovered an abandoned house in Brisbane, Australia, track the abandoned home. When touched by such an individual over the age of 13, 8104 will generate at least one toy lost by the individual during their childhood. 8104 remains inert when touched by humans under the age of 13, and by individuals over the age of 13 who did not lose any toys during their childhood. There is no known limit to the number of toys that 8104 can generate at once. But after... See, this is still a note because I don't like memory loss SCPs. Frickin' Coco is a traumatizing movie, man. Ugh. Terragal, thank you for donating again. The likes, Dr. Sherman, what do they mean? Oh, it is true. Thank you for telling me, Terragal, that the likes are currently greater than the view count of the stream. Congratulations, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename Signal Boosters. Because of your efforts, YouTube's algorithm is going to rip people from their normal shorts viewing and bring them into the Site42 chat where they will learn about SCPs and be so enamored that they will become SCP fans. And they will help us at Site42 to support the SCP Wiki and its authors and artists and animators and game devs and filmmakers. So we'll get more SCP stuff because your efforts. So thank you for your service, Sci-42. Keep up the good work. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. SCP-027, you say. 027. The Vermin God. What a code name. Appears to be a phenomenon of unknown source that seems to be tied to one human subject, currently 027-02. As a host to 027, the subject is constantly surrounded by swarming vermin that are drawn to its location. The subject does not appear to assert control over these creatures in any way, is in fact prone to occasional attacks from feral specimens. These creatures have also been known to attack personnel who approach too closely. So basically, you're Pigpen from Charlie Brown, but instead of dirt floating around you all the time, it's bugs. Nope. Nope, indeed, Dark Duality. Good job on the nope factor there. You really targeted the market of nope on that one. Woof. Oh, it's worse. There's more, Doc? Puppet Boy. Why? Why? It's been known to transfer between hosts. That's what we know. Upon the death of the first known host, subject, since it could be repeated upon death, all high-value personnel should be kept far away from current host. Yes, keep me away from current host, yes. It is unknown how 027 chooses or attracts the animals, or even what 027 exactly is. Timeline of significant events. It's discovered in a warehouse that it had been completely overrun by rats, cockroaches, and other vermin. It is contained and cataloged as SCP-027. Subject described as a Caucasian male in late 30s, of average height, but gaunt, filthy, and covered in bites and scratches. Subject also shows symptoms of degraded mental health, evidence of heavy drug use, of alcohol and illicit drugs, and signs of prolonged sleep deprivation. Subject expires. Autopsy shows more than 70% of the subject's body data expunged. A colony of rats nesting in the subject's abdomen for at least 2-digit redacted generations. See, at least that redaction tells you it's between 11 and 99 generations. It leaves you a nice big gap so that you can have questions. That's a better redaction than 90 blank %, where it's like, okay, we can't tell if it's 91 or 99%. That seems silly. And then between 140 and 150 hours after subject's death, security officer redacted reports being awoken by breathing problems due to a large housefly having crawled up his nose, later shown to have laid eggs. Subsequent observations led to categorization of officer redacted as subject 02. The original host reclassified as subject 01, and 027 is redefined. Yeah, okay, Puppet Boy, you were right. It did get worse. It did get worse. Ugh. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating 2 more times. 10th as in 10th Doctor info, 1,000 years alone evolved. Entity, go to next host, once host gone, endless loop. As long as it's not in my universe, I don't care where that entity goes. Rose Lady, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a potato pancake on your way past the commissary. Yellow Jackets defeated. Back for commissary food and celebration. Hey, speaking of bugs, good work. Pat on the back for you. Go ahead and get yourself some delicious commissary celebratory food. Here's your clap and a half. Forrest, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a taco on your way past the commissary. He's just like me for real. Yeah, we're both in this together, man. Nixie, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself some flan at the commissary. I caught it! That was on purpose. You did see that. Flew out of my hand, bounced, caught it behind my back. There you go. There you go. You all saw that. Since last time I've been here, 05 gave me 2 new experimental weapons to test. Why me and not Mobile Task Force, I don't know. And last time, no protocols either. I take this. It might be to test how they interact with your specific anomalous physiology. So that might be the reason. Pinky and Anna, thank you for your first donation of today's stream, as well as being members. Make sure to grab yourself a boysenberry pie on your way past the commissary. Hey, Doc, I just want to tell you mine and Pinky's big nope is when day breaks. Well, yeah, the sun is a deadly laser is a pretty big nope for all of humanity. So, yeah, let's, we don't enjoy the flesh monsters either. Not, they seem to be having too good a time. Ugh. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. Entity has doctor info, so cross dimension possible. I will just nuke this thing on first sight. Just get rid of it from a distance. Nice thing about it having the transit hosts is it has to be close enough to them to do it. We're pulling out Strelnikov out of retirement. He's going to snipe the son of a bitch, and it's over. All right, Site 42 staff. We are officially at the end of today's stream. And Chris the Dire Wolf Boy, thank you for donating again. You had your palate cleanser, but you're saying SCP-006-J, thank you for donating the Ko-Fi again, is another nope. I'll look at that before your palate cleanser. 006-J. Oh yes, codename. What the fuck is that thing? Object class, Keter, oh god, kill it. Yes, I agree entirely. 006-J is a big nope. Clearly a big nope. And now your palate cleanser was SCP-3008 codename Sweet Cats and Perfect Dogs. So it is a Foundation web crawler. We're tracking any mention of 3867 on the web. It is an anomalous website under the domain name scpd.heart named Sweet Cats and Perfect Dogs. When visited, 3867 will load a unique image page displaying an image of the visitor's pet and describing the most recent actions taken by the subject of the image. When visited by a subject without a cat or dog, 3867 will instead display an image of the most recent actions taken by an animal available for adoption at the nearest animal shelter. Subjects will then be prompted to adopt the animal in question in order to experience these cute moments firsthand. Femme Vital, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Now here are the contents of this website. Here is researcher Jade's Franklin. Franklin just snored a little bit but didn't wake up. He seems to be dreaming about sleeping. What a lazy, lazy boy. Make sure to pet him as soon as you get home. He misses you and wants to sit next to you as you unwind. Or what about researcher Watts's end-up choice, Dexter. Dexter's pretty sure he saw something dart across the wall, but he thinks it might just be that weird bright thing he can never seem to catch. He decided that rather than waste his efforts grabbing the sneaky culprit now, he's going to let things play out. Sorry, Dexter, but that was just light coming in through the window. I hate Mondays. Researcher Matthias does not own a pet, but expressed his parents owned a cat. And here is that cat. Salmer. Now, researcher Elsie's has Pinto. Look at Pinto. D1221. We even let a D class. Nala wondered why her best friend was putting her in a sack, then wondered why she kept hearing all those funny noises, until she wondered why it was so hard to move all of a sudden. Nala stopped wondering after she stopped breathing. D1221, what the fuck? Way to fucking come out of nowhere in the middle of our cute puppy article. Dr. Yeatley was testing on the puppy machine, 1459, and got a picture of blended puppies. I'm just taking that off the screen. The subtitle is, "You will totally go to hell for this." So, Chris the Direwolf Boy, I beg, did you read the whole length of that article? Did you know that it was both a palate cleanser that would become a nope? That you tricked the entire stream? We have gotten trolled so hard. So hard. Jiminy sakes. Chris, you didn't read to the end. Oh man, if something looks cute on the SCP Wiki, you need to read to the end. Because oh no. Oh no. That was SCP-3008 for people who want to go check it out. Ah. Ay, ay, ay. Oh no. No, chat, come back. I didn't mean to delete you. Come back, I swear. I'll do better. Okay. Berm, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a hot dog on your way past the commissary. Hey Doc, how you contain an SCP that can change atoms to its will, say air to steel? Because it's to its will, we would have to put it in a medically induced coma. That way it could not act. It can't act if it can't think. Fire Red Ninja, thank you for donating again. No, nuke don't work. A body can exist outside host. Well, then I will use pataphysics to erase the concept from consensus reality and claim that it's just a fictional episode of a Doctor Who story. Oh, gotcha. I already did that. That's why I don't have to deal with it, because I already dealt with it like a boss. So, after our quote-unquote palate cleanser, at the end of every stream, as a tradition around these parts, I tell you my favorite SCPs. Now, my favorite SCPs aren't, I'm not going to say the ones that I personally wrote are my favorites. That would be cheating. Of course I love the documents I personally wrote. And if you wanted to check them out, you could go to the Sherm Site 42 Hub and author page on the SCP Wiki. There you can see all the SCPs I personally wrote. You can also go into the tab next to those SCPs and find some links. Some links that people are very often curious to find, but don't look hard enough. It's kind of an Easter egg hunt around these parts. They got to work for it. So, along with those links, you can become a Site 42 Patreon patron. You can do a YouTube channel membership if you want to donate to us monthly. You can do a Ko-Fi or a YouTube Super Chat if you want to donate to us one time at a time. Either way, we appreciate direct donations. They're the quickest way to help me and Desk and the rest of our staff keep the lights on, so much obliged. Beyond that, you can also, if you are part of the Broke Gang, and trust me, we're an arts community, starving artist is a thing for a reason. We all know Broke Gang in our lives. You are still contributing to the Site 42 cause as a loyal and valuable member of Mobile Task Force Site 42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. When you like our videos, when you chat, when you hang out and comment and subscribe and all that YouTube business, YouTube helps boost our algorithm so we can get more people into Site 42 and funnel them into the SCP community, where they will help us as new members of Mobile Task Force Site 42 to support the SCP Wiki and its authors and artists and animators and game devs and filmmakers, etc. So we appreciate your service, Mobile Task Force Site 42, for your support in this endeavor. Now, before my favorite SCPs, Chris the Dire Wolf Boy hit the Ko-Fi one more time. Can you sing Carry On from Kansas? Chris the Dire Wolf Boy, that was actually yesterday's song, I think, right? I am pretty sure that was yesterday's song. You just missed it. But you can go back to yesterday's stream and check that one out. So, without further ado and in no particular order, Dr. Sherman's favorite SCPs are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980, but content warning about that last one, it's a bit of a doozy. Speed round, 3999-3043007-50315155031515175-5320 and 8980. It's a little slower of a speed run if I mess it up, but you know, speedrunners mess up from time to time. It's fine. You'll get another try on the next run. Anyways, I have been Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director of Site-42 and Head Containment Specialist, and this has been another Coffee Break with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video or stream. Daylight, I wake up feeling like you won't play right. I used to know, but now that shit don't feel right. It made me put away my pride. So long, you made a brother wait for some so long. You make it hurt for a boy like that to go on. I'm wishing I could make this mine. If you want it, yeah, you can have it. Oh, if you need it, ooh, we can make it. Oh, if you want it, you can have it. But stay woke. They be creeping. They gon' find you. Gon' catch you sleeping. Ooh, now stay woke. They be creeping. Now don't you close your eyes. The credit song is Redbone by Childish Gambino. And Lulu, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Be safe, be well, and see you tomorrow, Site-42 fam.